If you own a home in one of these 5 states, your retirement could be wiped out in the next decade. While most homeowners are watching their insurance double and their equity stagnate, a quiet group of retirees saw this coming. They cashed out early and they're now living in Portugal, Costa Rica, and Panama for half the cost, and honestly, they're living better. I'm going to show you which 5 states are financial traps right now and give you one realistic overseas alternative for each. State number 1, it's the one that worries me most. Before we dive in, let me be clear, this isn't politics, this is math. When I say a state is collapsing, I mean 3 specific things. Your equity is shrinking or stagnating. Your ownership costs are rising faster than your income. And when you try to sell, everyone else is trying to leave too. Insurance used to be a footnote. Now it's potentially your biggest expense. Property taxes aren't optional and they're not going down. Meanwhile, your Social Security stays the same. Here's the structure. 5 states ranked from concerning to critical. State number 5, Arizona, the heat and water time bomb. Starting at number 5, Arizona. For decades, it's been a retirement paradise. But the things that made Arizona attractive are now becoming massive liabilities. Let's start with heat. Phoenix is hitting 110, 115 degrees for weeks at a time. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's expensive and dangerous. Your AC runs 24/7 from June through September. That's hundreds of dollars every month in electricity alone. And for older adults, this extreme heat creates real health risks. Heat stroke, dehydration, cardiovascular stress. These aren't theoretical. They're sending people to hospitals every summer, and those extreme heat days are only becoming more frequent. But heat is just the surface problem. The real crisis is water. Arizona gets most of its water from the Colorado River, and that river is in serious trouble. Water restrictions are already in place. New construction is being limited in some counties because there literally isn't enough water to support growth. If you already own there, you might think you're grandfathered in. But water restrictions affect property values. They affect how attractive your area is to future buyers. And if you're on a well system, you're dealing with dropping groundwater levels. Then there's insurance, wildfire risk in wooded areas outside major cities, flooding during monsoon season. Insurance companies are responding by raising rates or pulling out entirely. So picture this. You're a retiree on $2,800 a month. Property taxes going up, utilities going up because of the heat, insurance going up, HOA fees going up. Your budget gets tighter every single year, and you can't change your income. Where do you run instead? Portugal. Portugal's D7 visa is designed for retirees with passive income. If you've got Social Security or a pension adding up to around $1,500 to $2,000 monthly, you qualify. The climate is one of the best in Europe. Coastal areas stay mild year-round. You're not dealing with Arizona's brutal summers or harsh winters anywhere. Here's what $2,000 a month gets you. A nice 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in cities like Braga or Coimbra for 700 to 900 euros. That's about $750 to $950 in rent. Utilities are lower because you're not constantly air conditioning. Healthcare is a fraction of US costs. Portugal has public healthcare that residents can access, and private insurance runs 50 to 100 euros monthly for comprehensive coverage. You're walking more because cities are actually walkable. You're eating fresh food from local markets. Your stress drops because you're not worried about the next insurance renewal or special assessment. There's a language barrier. Though English is widely spoken in expat areas, there's bureaucracy like any foreign country. But if Arizona is feeling more like a financial burden than retirement paradise, Portugal deserves serious consideration. Now, if you think Arizona's challenges are significant, this next state markets itself as having no income tax, but they get you in ways that are even more expensive. State number 4, Texas. Property tax and overbuilding trap. No state income tax, business friendly, growing like crazy. Sounds perfect, right? Here's what the welcome sign doesn't mention. Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the entire country. We're talking 1.5%, 1.8%, sometimes over 2% of your home's assessed value every single year. Real numbers. A $300,000 home in a typical Texas suburb costs you $4,500 to $6,000 annually just in property taxes. That's $375 to $500 every month before your mortgage, insurance, or anything else. And those property taxes don't go down. Ever. Your home value might fluctuate, but when the county reassesses, they're generally looking for reasons to increase your bill, not decrease it. Now let's talk about what's happening in the market. Texas has been building like crazy for a decade. Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio are throwing up new subdivisions as fast as they can pour concrete. In a booming economy, that's fine. There's demand, prices stay strong. But when the economy softens or interest rates make buying less attractive, you've got oversupply. Too many houses, not enough buyers. Prices stagnate or drop. If you bought in Texas in the last few years expecting appreciation like 2020 to 2022, you might be in for a rude awakening. Some markets are already seeing prices flatten or decline. When you're paying massive property taxes on a home that isn't appreciating, you're losing money every year you own it. Then insurance. Texas gets everything. Hurricanes on the coast, tornadoes in the plains, hailstorms that total your roof in minutes, flooding in areas that never flooded before. Insurance companies are raising rates dramatically or leaving entirely. Paint the picture. You're a retiree in suburban Texas. Your home costs $320,000. You're paying $5,500 yearly in property taxes. Your homeowner's insurance just jumped to $3,500 annually because of storm risk. HOA fees are $100 monthly. Utilities run another $250 monthly because Texas summers demand serious AC. You're looking at close to $1,500 monthly just to own your home before you buy food or put gas in your car. And you're living on $2,800 monthly from Social Security. The math doesn't work. And it's getting worse every year. Where do you run instead? Costa Rica. Costa Rica's pensionado program is literally designed for retirees. Show proof of pension or Social Security income of about $1,000 monthly, and you can qualify for residency. The process is straightforward compared to other countries. Costs: a comfortable 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in nice areas of San Jose or expat towns like Atenas or Grecia runs $600 to $900 monthly. No property taxes eating you alive, no HOA breathing down your neck, and healthcare is world class. They have a public system called Kahi that residents access for a small monthly fee based on income. Want private care? A doctor's visit costs $50 to $80. An MRI, maybe $300 instead of $3,000. The climate is incredible. Multiple climate zones mean you can choose coastal warmth or mountain coolness. No brutal Texas summers trapping you indoors. Your monthly budget in Costa Rica, living comfortably, is probably $1,500 to $2,000 total. That includes rent, food, utilities, entertainment, everything. Compare that to just the ownership costs in Texas, not even counting food and living expenses. Retirees I've talked to in Costa Rica sold their Texas homes, pocketed the equity, and are now living better on half the monthly budget. They're not struggling. They're thriving. But if Texas hits you with property taxes, this next state comes at you from every angle at once. State number 3, California. Tax, insurance, and exodus. Incredible weather, beautiful coastlines, mountains, amazing culture and food. There are genuine reasons people love it, but here's the reality for retirees now. California has arguably the highest overall tax burden in the United States. Not just property taxes, though those are significant if you bought recently without Prop 13 protection. We're talking state income tax up to 13.3%. Among the highest sales taxes in the country, gas taxes, everything. If you're a retiree still earning any income, consulting, part-time work, rental income from another property, California wants a big piece. Yes, Social Security isn't taxed at the state level, but almost everything else is. Now, insurance, because this is where California is becoming genuinely unlivable for many people. If you're in a wildfire-prone area, which is increasingly large swaths of the state, your home insurance has either skyrocketed or disappeared. People who've owned homes for 20 years are suddenly getting non-renewal notices. When they search for new coverage, they're finding quotes double or triple what they used to pay, if they can find coverage at all. The state created a FAIR plan as insurer of last resort, but it's expensive and provides limited coverage. You're stuck paying massive premiums for insurance that might not even fully cover your home. Then there's the elephant: people are leaving. California has seen significant outmigration over several years, particularly among middle-class families and retirees. They're going to Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Idaho, anywhere the cost of living is lower. When large numbers leave a housing market, what happens? Demand softens. Prices stagnate or decline. If you're a retiree counting on your California home equity as your retirement nest egg, watching that equity potentially shrink is terrifying. Here's the trap so many California retirees face. They can't afford to stay because costs keep rising, but they're afraid to sell because they might not get the price they're hoping for. So, they're stuck, watching monthly expenses creep higher, eating into fixed income. Let's say you're in a modest California home valued at $650,000. Your property taxes, even with Proposition 13, might be $6,000 to $8,000 yearly. Your insurance, if you can get it, is maybe $2,500 to $4,000 yearly. Utilities, HOA, maintenance, you're easily at $1,800 to $2,200 monthly just for ownership costs. And if you need major repairs or renovations, labor costs in California are astronomical. Where do you run instead? Spain. Spain's non-lucrative visa is perfect for retirees with enough passive income to support themselves without working. Spain requires you to show around 28,000 to 30,000 euros annually in stable income, about $2,400 to $2,500 monthly. Social Security plus a small pension or investment income gets you there. What life actually costs: Valencia, Alicante, Murcia, smaller cities throughout Andalusia, you're looking at 800 to 1,200 euros monthly for a really nice 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. That's roughly $850 to $1,250. Healthcare is excellent. Once you're a resident, you access the public healthcare system, which is highly rated and costs far less than the US. Even private health insurance runs 100 to 150 euros monthly for comprehensive coverage. What really gets me about Spain? The quality of life is fundamentally different. Spanish cities are walkable, public transportation works, you're not spending a fortune on gas and car maintenance because you don't need to drive everywhere. The pace is slower, people sit down for meals, they socialize. There's strong community sense, especially in smaller cities and towns. Large, established expat communities exist, so you're not figuring this out alone. Your total monthly budget in Spain, living comfortably, is probably $2,000 to $2,500. That includes rent, food, utilities, entertainment, healthcare, everything. Compare that to just trying to own a home in California, where ownership costs alone might exceed that. California is expensive and complicated, but at least the market has some stability. This next state, it's a boom and bust roller coaster that can wipe out equity almost overnight. State number 2, Nevada, the boom bust equity roller coaster. Nevada, Las Vegas, Reno, entertainment capital, desert oasis, no state income tax, a lifestyle attracting people from everywhere. But understand this about Nevada: the economy is heavily dependent on tourism and entertainment. When times are good, when people are spending, when conventions fill hotels and tourists fill casinos, Nevada does great. The housing market booms, prices shoot up, everyone feels wealthy. But when the economy turns, when people stop traveling, when entertainment spending drops, Nevada gets hit harder and faster than almost anywhere else. If you lived through 2008 and 2009 in Nevada, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Nevada had some of the worst foreclosure rates in the entire country during the housing crisis. Home values in Las Vegas dropped 50%, 60%, in some areas even more. People who thought they were building wealth watched equity completely evaporate, and this can happen again. Nevada's economy hasn't fundamentally diversified. It's still heavily reliant on sectors vulnerable to economic downturns. If you bought in Nevada in the last few years when prices were climbing, understand you're sitting on an asset that can lose value very, very quickly if market conditions change. Now the ongoing costs: yes, there's no state income tax, which is attractive, but property taxes are still significant, typically 0.5% to 0.8% of assessed value. That doesn't sound terrible until you remember home values in places like Las Vegas have shot up significantly. Then, insurance. Nevada's desert climate means extreme heat, which means high utility costs. It also means increasing wildfire risk in areas outside main cities. And flooding, surprisingly, is an issue in Las Vegas during heavy rains. because desert soil doesn't absorb water well. Insurance companies are looking at Nevada's risk profile and responding accordingly. Rates are climbing. If the market turns and home values drop, you could find yourself owing more on your mortgage than your home is worth, paying high insurance and utilities, and unable to sell without taking a significant loss. Retirees in Nevada I've talked to are genuinely worried. They rode the wave up, their home appreciated nicely, but now they're looking at economic indicators and wondering if they should cash out while values are still relatively high. Here's the brutal truth about boom-bust markets. If you don't sell near the top, you might be stuck riding it all the way down. Where do you run instead? Thailand. Thailand's retirement visa program is one of the most attractive in Southeast Asia. Thailand offers a 1-year retirement visa, renewable if you're over 50 and meet financial requirements. You either need 800,000 baht, about 24,000 US dollars, in a Thai bank account, or monthly income of at least 65,000 baht, about 1,900 US dollars. Many retirees use a combination of both. What life costs? In cities like Chiang Mai or Hua Hin, popular retirement destinations, you can rent a nice 1 or 2 bedroom condo for $500 to $800 monthly. Healthcare in Thailand is shockingly good and shockingly cheap. Private hospitals in major cities rival anything in the United States, but a doctor's visit might cost $30. A complex surgery costing $50,000 in the US might run $10,000 in Thailand. Many retirees pay out of pocket for routine care and keep catastrophic insurance for major issues. Food costs are incredibly low if you eat local. You can get a delicious filling meal at a local restaurant for $2 to $4. Even eating out for every meal, you're spending a fraction of what you'd spend in the States. Your total monthly budget in Thailand, living comfortably in a retirement-friendly city, is probably $1,500 to $2,000. That includes rent, food, utilities, transportation, entertainment, healthcare, everything. What really appeals to people? The pace of life in Thailand is fundamentally more relaxed, less stress. People are generally friendly and welcoming to foreigners. The climate is warm year-round, which many retirees love. Compare that to Nevada, constantly worried about whether your equity will hold, whether the next recession will crater your home value, whether you'll be able to sell when you need to. But as concerning as Nevada's boom-bust cycle is, there's one state that combines rising costs with increasing physical risk in a way that's genuinely alarming. State number 1, Florida, the insurance nightmare, the Sunshine State, the retirement capital of America, and right now, the single most concerning housing market in the United States. Let me be very clear why Florida is number 1. The insurance situation has gone from bad to catastrophic in just a few years. Home insurance premiums in Florida have absolutely exploded. People whose policies have doubled or tripled in cost. And it's not just coastal properties, though those are obviously hit hardest. Even inland properties are seeing massive increases because insurance companies are looking at Florida's overall risk profile and deciding the entire state is a liability. Here's what's happening. Major national insurance companies have either pulled out of Florida entirely or drastically reduced their exposure. State Farm, Farmers, AAA, big established companies, insuring Florida homes for decades are saying, we can't do this anymore. Homeowners are being pushed to smaller regional companies or to Citizens Property Insurance, Florida's state-backed insurer of last resort. And Citizens is expensive, really expensive. And there are real questions about whether Citizens could handle a major hurricane without massive financial stress. Real numbers. I've seen policies for modest single-family homes in Florida running $8,000, $10,000, even $12,000 annually just for home insurance. That's $700 to $1,000 monthly just for insurance, and it's not just premiums. Deductibles are going up. Coverage is being reduced. Some policies now exclude certain types of damage entirely or have separate massive deductibles for hurricane damage. Picture this, you're a retiree in Florida. You bought your home 10 years ago thinking you'd live there forever. Your insurance at the time was maybe $2,000 yearly. Now it's $8,000 and climbing. Your property taxes have increased, your HOA fees keep going up. And your HOA just hit you with a $15,000 special assessment because the condo building needs major structural repairs insurance won't cover. This is actually happening. Retirees on fixed incomes are getting special assessment bills for tens of thousands of dollars, and they don't have it. They can't pay. So they're being forced to sell, often at a loss, in a market where fewer people want to buy. Let's talk about physical risk because it's real and increasing. Florida is at the front lines of climate change. Sea level rise is happening. Storm surge is getting worse. The frequency and intensity of hurricanes seems to be increasing. Flooding that used to be rare is becoming more common. Some areas of coastal Florida are legitimately at risk of becoming uninsurable and eventually unlivable. If you own property in those areas, you might be sitting on an asset that becomes worthless over the next couple decades. But even if you're inland, even in central Florida, you're still dealing with increasing heat, humidity, storm risk, and the insurance crisis affecting the entire state. Florida used to be the dream retirement destination. Now, I genuinely believe it's becoming a financial trap for many retirees stuck there, watching costs spiral upward, unable to sell without taking a huge loss, and terrified of what the next hurricane season might bring. Where do you run instead? Panama. Panama's Pensionado program is often called the best retirement visa program in the world. If you can show proof of a lifetime pension of at least $1,000 monthly, you qualify. Social Security counts. The benefits are significant. First, Panama gives retirees with Pensionado status substantial discounts on services. We're talking 25% off restaurant bills, 20% off medical services, 50% off entertainment, 30% off bus and train tickets, 25% off airline tickets within Panama. These discounts are written into law specifically to attract retirees. Costs. In Panama City, you can rent a modern, comfortable 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood for $800 to $1,200 monthly. In smaller cities like David or Boquete, it's even cheaper, maybe $600 to $900. Healthcare in Panama is excellent, especially in Panama City, where there are multiple high-quality private hospitals. A doctor's visit might cost $25 to $50. Comprehensive private health insurance runs $100 to $200 monthly depending on age and health. Panama uses the US dollar as its currency, which eliminates exchange rate risk and makes financial planning much simpler for American retirees. The climate varies by location. Coastal areas are warm and humid. Mountain towns like Boquete have spring-like weather year-round. You can choose the climate that works for you. Your total monthly budget in Panama living comfortably is probably $1,500 to $2,200. That includes rent, food, utilities, healthcare, entertainment, everything. And remember, you're getting those Pensionado discounts on top of already lower costs. Compare that to Florida, where you might be spending $1,000 monthly just on insurance, plus property taxes, plus HOA, plus utilities, plus constant worry about the next storm or special assessment. A growing number of Florida retirees are doing the math and realizing they can sell their Florida home, move to Panama, and dramatically improve their quality of life while spending significantly less. Let's recap from concerning to critical number 5, Arizona. Heat and water are long-term concerns, not immediate crises. Watch utility costs and water policy. Number 4, Texas. Property taxes are brutal and worsening. Overbuilding in major metros is a real concern. Number 3, California. High taxes, insurance challenges, and outmigration create uncertainty. Ownership costs are among the highest in the country. Number 2, Nevada. The boom-bust cycle is real and dangerous. If you've seen equity gains recently, consider whether you want to risk riding it back down. Number 1, Florida. The insurance crisis alone makes this the most concerning market. Add climate risk, special assessments, and increasing costs, and Florida is genuinely dangerous for retirees on fixed incomes. Here's your decision framework. Answer these honestly. First, what does it cost annually just to own your home? Add property taxes, insurance, HOA, utilities, routine maintenance, not your mortgage, just ongoing ownership costs. Second, how much could you lower that by moving abroad? If you're spending $20,000 yearly just on ownership and could live your entire life abroad for $18,000 to $24,000 yearly total, that's massive. Third, how many extra retirement years does that buy you? If moving abroad cuts annual expenses by $15,000 to $20,000 and you've got $200,000 in home equity you've potentially extended your retirement by a decade or more. Drop a comment. What state do you live in? Which overseas option seems most realistic to you? Portugal, Costa Rica, Spain, Thailand, or Panama? If this was helpful, hit subscribe. This channel is about real numbers, real options, and real strategies for people tired of being told everything is fine when they can see it's not. Next video. I'm breaking down exactly how to turn a $2,000 Social Security check into a full, comfortable life overseas, step by step, country by country, with real budgets from retirees doing it now. You have options, you're not stuck, there are places where your money goes further, and you can actually enjoy the years you've worked for. Thanks for watching.